Hello, welcome to another Nickjitsu guitar video. In fact, welcome to the 21st century. Kind of only 23 years late, really. But anyway, we're going to be looking at something a wee bit different today. We're going to be looking at my guitar synth setup. I get inundated with an email almost every week, mainly from Mrs. Edna Scrobes, who says, "Dear Nick, all those funny sounds you make live, they make my lights flicker. How do you do them?" Well, we're about to find out. But first, let me put the whole rig together. Let's see how quickly I can do it. Grief, that's exhausting, isn't it? In reality, that normally takes about anywhere between 20 minutes to half an hour, depending on whether you've got singers, drummers, or bass players talking at you, or members of the audience saying, "Oh, that's a lot of lights, isn't it?" I've been playing guitar synth for around 30 years now. God, that makes me sound old, doesn't it? Good grief. I started on, I think, a Roland GR1 or something like that. In fact, no, it was the rack mount thing. It was a GM70 or GM something. Had a big, huge square pickup on it. And that was way back in 92, 93. And I've had every Roland synth since then. In fact, I've still got Roland synths over there. I've still got my JV 1080. I've used the 2080, 5080, the 10-inch 80, the McEwen's 80. All kinds of 80 shillings I've used. Speaking of 80 shilling, today's beer is Brewdog's Planet Ale, Planet Pale Ale, and it's very, very good. Apparently, every time I take a drink, I save a planet. Which planet, we don't know. And it's one of my 5 a day, so slant your The synth side begins its journey on the guitar through the pickup. So what I've got is I've got a really long USB cable, which travels all the way through all the spaghetti and ends up in this little hub here. Now you've got to place it second in the hub. So the guitar goes in there, and then that gets sent to the Triple Play software. As you can see, it's in hardware mode. That gets sent to Mainstage, which is normally on the same computer. There's another cable here that has to be first in line, and that goes to the FB3 pedal board. I'm not endorsed by Line 6, but I've ended up with FB3, HX effects, and there's an old, what's that, FB2, little mini one. I use that in the studio when I'm doing strings and things like that. I've already done a video on this pedal, but I stopped using it because it just wasn't big enough for what I was needing live. That's the pedal I need. And that has been an absolute godsend, the FB3. So that's what controls my synths in Mainstage. The other thing that I need for the synths is I need a separate sound card, which is the Motu Ultralight Mark III. And then that gets sent straight into my Yamaha, was it DBX 10 or something like that, or DBX 8 speaker. And that's just for me. I also go through a DI box that gets sent to the front of house. So we can have synths front of house as well. And that gets blended with the band. And then in there, that all gets mixed together on a little board and that is for my in-ear monitors. So I can hear my guitar and my synth. There's no other part of the band that's blended in there. And it just means that I can have the in-ear monitors just on and no more. These are ACS Evo in-ear monitors, and they have been an absolute game changer. They're absolutely fabulous. So if you don't have them, get them, because they're brilliant. They will completely change your gigging life. Do you know what? I forgot a pedal. The one other pedal I missed is this little pedal here. It's just a DoD expression pedal. It's a great little thing. Very compact, just sits at the side. That is connected to the FB3. And what that does is that changes the speed of my Leslie cabinets, or changes filters, modulations, can do all the pitch stuff if I need it to on Fusion gigs. Basically anything I want it to do, any kind of expression stuff that I need in my synths, is done by that pedal there. This one is nearly always used as a volume. Oh, by the way, I wear kind of winkle picker, fake cowboy boot shoes when I'm doing all this. If you try it with trainers or any other kind of wider shoe, you can't hit the pedals. You end up hitting about 2 or 3 pedals at the same time. Believe me, it's not funny when you go for a nice, smooth little kind of string sound, something nice and quiet and gentle, that's maybe in a ballad, and you get this massive brass sound coming at you that's actually triggered all in different notes and all that kind of thing. You do not want that. So you need nice shoes that make your feet tiny, or you need to start playing synth guitar when you're 5 and bind your feet so that they don't grow. So the actual device itself, the pickup, it charges up via USB, and it's got a little battery inside. And after 8 years, touch wood, the battery is still fine. Now the pickup itself, you can slide this out and then take that off, and it's magnetic. So in theory, you can have one of these attached to 2 guitars, and then you break a string, you attach that to another guitar. It's a nightmare getting hold of these, absolute nightmare, because you have to buy a whole pack, and the whole pack works out quite expensive when all you need is this. So it'd be good if they just sold these separate. Because these are plastic, the end of these, the little bit right there, wears away to nothing. So this 400 odd pickup is 400 quid odd pickup is held together with blue tack, which I have to say, when you get it right, does a much better job of keeping the whole pickup in place. But you can see, can be a bit fiddly to get on, but at least you don't have to leave it there permanently, which means that I can actually put it in a normal guitar case. So swings and roundabouts, I guess. Every now and again, if I'm playing in any kind of heat, the blue tack will melt off, and then the pickup will start touching the strings, and you get all these kind of crazy noises coming out. So that's something to watch. Other little problem is the pickup has to speak to this dongle, and in theory, this dongle just goes straight into your computer. However, with modern Bluetooth phones, this is Bluetooth, by the way, modern Bluetooth phones, and just the amount of radio noise that's kind of in the environment in general, you end up with drop notes, and hung notes is the worst one, where you're playing a chord and the note will just hang. Whenever that happens, I've got a panic button, which is button A on my pedal board, and that's all MIDI notes off. That's a very handy thing to have. That happens quite a lot when you've got that dongle too far from the pickup. So what you need to do is you need to get a MIDI USB lead and fit it to your guitar strap and have that as close as you can to that. There's a few other guitar players I've seen that actually have that taped onto that. But of course, it's meant to be a wireless system, but I'm wired. It's not a huge deal breaker because I'm already wired with the guitar anyway. The reason I use the Fishman is because every aspect I need to works. And each one of the competitors has something missing that's crucial for my live playing, especially. It's mainly to do with sostenuto pedals and the fact that most companies, I've even been told by certain companies who shall remain nameless, that nobody uses sostenuto, the CC66 thing. And Fishman cottoned on to the fact that they do, and it's in all the old rolling stuff. It's the most essential thing you need, and that's the thing that allows you to play a chord and just let it hang while you play over the top. There's no one company that makes a pedal board and a pickup and the computer software, the sound card, all that could be. I'd like one company to do that, which would be fantastic. And who knows, maybe some other companies in the future will do that. Fishman, MIDI guitar is great fun. It's not just great fun, it's very practical. It's paid for itself in the ease that I've been able to do compositions for people. When I do a lot of the strings, but all the strings that I do, all the string arrangements, horn arrangements, drum arrangement, everything that I do is done on guitar. And it blows people's minds sometimes when I actually start playing and, what you're hearing is guitar. Everything's played on guitar. Just like my album Hyperreal, which I'm not sure if I've mentioned at all. There's a new album that I'm working on at the minute that's nearly out, and that will be based on basically German dance music, which is something that is a bit of a departure for me, but heavily synth-based. I've had to study a lot of EDM stuff, techno, house, listen to a lot of Kraftwerk. I'll explain that journey in another video closer to when the album comes out. So any questions, leave them in the comments down below. Let me know how you do your synth setup. Everybody's different, and it's really interesting to see how other synth players cope with how to make soundscapes and how to do things live or in the studio. So it's a never-ending journey, but it's a fascinating one. So hope you'll join me at some point on this journey. Slancheva from me, from Brewdog. Don't forget to do the like, subscribe, and the bell thing for the algorithm for the YouTube gods. And Slancheva, and I'll see you on the next one. So here we have all the gear that we're going to use, and oh, pants.